All right, let me bring in my guest for this hour, trial attorney Rachel Fiset. And Rachel, maybe you can help me sift through what we were just listening to. I'll be honest with you, what they were arguing, I've never seen before, haven't had any experience with that type of thing. But I can tell you this, from the very beginning, when the money started pouring in and you heard there was $2 million there for his bond and for other things, I knew there were going to be some problems. Where there's a pile of money, there's always problems. What could you make out from those arguments? I mean, the thing that jumped out at me was these folks invested money and looked at putting up bail as an investment. I mean, as the judge said, it was bizarre.
This is very bizarre. And the judge mentioned, or the lawyer mentioned, an interpleader action, which generally means that there is some pot of money, like a lost treasure somewhere, and now people can make claim to it. But it generally means somebody is saying, hey, I have this money and it's not mine, so I'm going to give it to you, court, and now you all can fight over it, whoever wants to come and make a claim. And it sounds like that's what they're contemplating here, which is very strange in a bail situation.
Yeah, I think just as a quick sort of background on it, there was this fight back organization that was formed collecting money on behalf of Kyle Rittenhouse. They collected about $2 million. Sounds like this guy, John Pierce, then handed it over to the court for use, et cetera, et cetera. And now the folks are basically fighting over that money. Some of it may go back to fight back. Some of it may go to Rittenhouse, it sounds like. What my experience is, and we heard the attorney say it, is whoever puts up the bail has some sort of note, and then they get that money right back once everything is taken care of. But it sounds like, again, as you said, that's not the case here.
That's not the case, and the lawyer appears to be putting it up, saying, I don't know where it goes, and now people get to make claim to it. And I agree with you. A lot of people contributed to these funds, and now they probably have to go back and find who made these contributions and why and how and through whom, which maybe it was through John Pierce. This is very interesting.
Yeah, the other issue today was, of course, that rifle. I was a bit surprised that there was even a motion filed. Generally, or argued. Normally, when you're not convicted of the crime, all your belongings are returned to you. But obviously, this rifle is in a bit of a special category.
I agree again, and I think that destroying it is the right thing to do. This case was so controversial, and there's so many people on both sides of this case, particularly those that might feel like Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero in some way. And I'm afraid that we would see this rifle on some kind of eBay or some kind of auction, and this weapon that was used to murder people might go for sale for big dollars. I think that let's just get rid of the rifle and move on.
Absolutely, and let the state do it. So we know that it actually does happen. Stand by, Rachel, because in an interesting side note, Wisconsin lawmakers passed bills this week that provide for harsher penalties for protesters who participate in riots and deface government statues. Now, remember, this all came about because of protests. Now, the bills, they come after the protesters burned part of downtown Kenosha during demonstrations in the summer of 2020. Now, the riot penalties bill would define a riot as a public disturbance that involved unlawful assembly and an act of violence or a threat of violence committed by at least one person. Now, if someone attended that protest, they could face a misdemeanor charge and up to 9 months in jail. If a protester participated in a demonstration that resulted in property damage or injuries, the charge could become a felony. Well, of course, the ACLU, the City of Milwaukee, and several government watchdog groups have all registered opposition to the riot penalties bill. No groups have registered support or opposition to the statute or bill. All right, still with me, Rachel Fiset. Rachel, what do you make of that statute? That one doesn't hit me right.
That one doesn't hit me right either. This hits me like something the ACLU is going to come flying in a fleet of helicopters to protest, as this appears like it could be First Amendment violations after the fact. You don't know when a protest is going to be violent. So if you protest and somehow it becomes violent, you're in trouble for attending the protest. This feels like all kinds of bias and law enforcement bias could go into how this is enforced. This doesn't sound right. It sounds a bit unconstitutional, actually.
Absolutely. Sounds like prior restraint, sounds like restraint on First Amendment rights. I mean, just any number of things. So I'm sure this will, a real big battle is going to ensue over that particular statute. All right, Rachel, stand by. We're going to take a break right now.